Our Sydney Simone caught up with both of them today. She is live with more on their story. Sydney.
Texas Independent School District says about 80% of their students plan to return to the classroom this fall. The other 20% will learn from home. Starting this Saturday, residents will only have one option for their recyclables: to throw it in the trash. This means if a hospital has 100 beds, only 15 of them can actually be filled with COVID-19 patients. School administration says parents can always download the Safe Stop Bus app to track route changes and monitor alerts. Residents are demanding that the statue that's been here for over a century be removed from all public displays. What you hear right now is the sound of the people of Shreveport standing in solidarity for the racial injustice and divide in this community. I'm standing in the front yard of a resident's home where she says this huge tree nearly missed her porch by 4.5 feet. She says it's a struggle coming in and out of her front door. The parade is set to start at 7 p.m. on Broad Street, right here downtown Texarkana. Are you guys ready for the parade?
Yeah!
What are you excited about?
I'm excited for the candy.
All right. Texarkana, Arkansas Mayor Alan Brown says the purchases of personal protective equipment like masks, hand sanitizers, and soaps helped increase sales in the city. Healthcare workers say the process takes anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes depending on the number of cars ahead of you. Experts say you should take a deep breath and make a budget before coming out to shop for Black Friday. So much excitement surrounding this year's matchup between Grambling State and Southern University, known as the Bayou Classic. No excuse for guys not to take their ladies out for Valentine's Day since it's going to be sunny next week.
Right, okay.
NAACP says today's open dialogue is an effort to bring unity to the city and citizens of Texarkana. In Hempstead County Sheriff James Singleton says his agency is informing the public about the executive order, but leaving the decision to wear a face mask up to the residents. Once the clock struck 12 midnight, the doors of bars, breweries, and wineries across the state opened to the public. Dr. Mary Martin says wearing protective socks and shoes that cover your whole foot is the best way to prevent you from stepping on foreign objects. Now that gyms are back open, things are a little bit different. Management says they've placed out-of-order signs on certain machines to keep the distance in between people. Less than a month since Governor Abbott announced phase 3, all bars will be closed and restaurants will be going back to 50% capacity starting Monday. The one-day testing site will be in Texarkana, Texas tomorrow from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. at the old XLER. The hotel sign is now lit and people are starting to line up for entry into the reception. The Hotel Grim grand opening is expected to take place spring of 2021. Davis is expected to start January 18th, and the board plans to renovate the Shreveport Regional Airport. Here in New Boston, Texas, testimony in the trial for the woman accused of murdering her boyfriend at her home in Bowie County is ongoing. Only is this program beneficial inside the classroom and for further education. The instructor says it's helpful knowing how to read the label and make decisions at a pharmacy. Checking for impaired drivers. Again, I'm at a non-disclosed location in Bossier Parish. Back to you, Dan. As long as you're in line by 7 o'clock, you can cast your ballot. Now check this out. I'm going to step out of the frame here, but I want you to take a look at this. There is no line. Earlier today, the line was wrapped around the building. I spoke with some voters who came outside, and they said the entire process took 5 minutes. That means walking inside, signing in, casting your ballot, and walking out. But one thing I want to point out, please do not forget to bring your mask. If you don't have a mask, you won't be able to go inside. You won't be able to vote. Now, we're still working to confirm the details of what actually led to the fire that did break out at 3 a.m. this morning, just as you said. Right now, we can see that employees are still entering the building for work. The fire did break out on the exterior part of the building, and right now I'm going to step outside of the shot just so you can take a closer look at what the scene actually looks like. I'm standing on the outside of the gate because it still is an ongoing investigation, and we aren't allowed to get too close to the scene. Just a moment ago, Southwest Electric was out here doing an investigation as well.
3 months ago, I started having issues in about the middle of my foot.
Matthew McAdoo loves to camp, but when he thought it was an injury, left him homebound.
You know, a swelling and a pain. And
he's had foot problems before from arthritis and a bone spur, but this time he noticed something different.
My wife and I, we looked at it and I said, "What is that?" She said, "I think it's plant matter." And so sure enough, it just worked its way down in there.
Dr. Mary Martin is a podiatrist at Christus St. Michael's Hospital. She says injuries like Matthew's are common during the summer. It's because so many people are walking around barefoot or with open-toed shoes.
You or I would typically step on something, realize immediately what's happened, and try and retrieve it at home if it's easy enough to get out. But some patients unfortunately suffer from what's called peripheral neuropathy. That's where the nerves to the feet are damaged.
Dr. Martin says this summer alone, she's pulled out over 10 foreign objects from people's feet. Things like staples, glass, splinters, and even broken Christmas ornaments. But Matthew says he doesn't walk barefoot, so he's not sure how this happened.
Somehow we ended up Googling it later, and it was a foxtail or speargrass. A little barb had worked its way up in between my toes and just got infected.
Dr. Mary Martin says wearing protective socks and shoes that cover your whole foot is the best way to prevent you from stepping on foreign objects.
Even in the safety of your own home, you know, we've all dropped a glass or shattered a plate in our house, and we think that we've picked up all the shards, but typically we leave a piece or two behind.
Sydney Simone, NBC6 News. Marching, laying on the ground for 8 minutes of silence, registering to vote. Moments that highlight this protest, but many want to know the motive behind protesting.
Most white people don't recognize the fact that they have white privilege and the things that it's afforded them in life, because it does give you a different hand of cards than it does if you are born with more melanin.
What you hear right now is the sound of the people of Shreveport standing in solidarity for the racial injustice and divide in this community.
Protesting is a sign of showing action. It's not just talking about it, it's doing the work.
Mayor Adrian Perkins says he wants his people to know he stands with them.
I'm just as angry as they are. I'm just as heartbroken as they are from some of the things that we've seen. And I have the same sense of urgency to change things. I wouldn't be in the mayor's seat if I didn't want to change things in our society.
One protester says he came out to show the police department that people are demanding change from law enforcement officers.
It's terrifying, because you be thinking the police there to help you, but at the same time, sometimes they be after you. So it just be scary sometimes that you feel like you just can't be safe in your own neighborhoods.
Sergeant Angie Wilhite wants Shreveport to know not all officers have bad intentions.
A lot of us get labeled in, we get thrown into a category with people that wear the same uniform as us that aren't good. We're out here to show that we're people too. We share everybody else's concerns and we stand with the community.
Sydney Simone, NBC6 News.